Hey! Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd, and it is time for a review of the new Alex G record, House of Sugar. Alex G is a multi-instrumentalist, a producer, a lo-fi wizard. He's an artist that made it pretty big on the Bandcamp platform until transitioning off of it at the midpoint of the decade with a Domino Records contract. And his profile would grow even bigger a year or so later when named as a collaborator with Frank Ocean on numerous tracks from Endless and Blonde. Alex has a legit reputation as a musical brain and a production talent, but I'm yet to be really floored by one of his records all the way through, or impressed beyond some of the creative production choices he typically makes in his songs. Because when it comes to the singing and the songwriting end of things in Alex G's music, I am left wanting so much more. These were mostly my feelings on his last record in 2017, Rocket. Pretty much a breakthrough record for Alex that, even though I was underwhelmed by it, I was looking forward to the future, hoping to enjoy his next release more. Not only because I thought a few of the teasers from this new record were good, but hey, Alex G could also come into his own as an artist in the same way that Will Toledo did as he transitioned onto Matador Records and quickly became, after a So-So album, one of the label's MVPs. So as much as I went into this new album with high hopes and just fingers crossed, it feels like Rocket all over again. And not to say that Alex G made the same record twice. He didn't. I just walked away with a lot of the same complaints and issues. And remember, this is relative at the end of the day because there are people who are living and dying by the Alex G discography and loved Rocket, and you know, I very much predict that those who enjoyed that record are going to love this too, maybe even love it more. I mean, sure, by comparison, the production generally on House of Sugar is a lot less lo-fi. I'd say the way Alex mixes and arranges instrumentation on some of the tracks here has actually become kind of orthodox, whether it be on the song Hope or the track Southern Sky, tracks that don't sound too far outside of the purview of indie balladeers of the 90s and 2000s. There's a very apparent Elliott Smith influence on a few key tracks here too. I have to admit though, Alex comes up with some amazing, gorgeous, haunting layers of instrumentation surrounding the acoustics on the track Gretel. Probably the best tune and instrumental assembly on this whole project. The listless vocals and the grunge-ish guitar chord progressions, as well as the melting descending tones, it leaves me feeling like I'm just floating down a river of depression in a relaxed state under a starry sky. I'm similarly enchanted by some of the drony hypnotic layers on the track Walk Away, a meditative track that is somehow sparkling but also a little lo-fi and smudgy, easily one of the most psychedelic transmissions to come out of the Alex G discography. But it's a really odd way to kick off the album. It's one of the lengthier tracks on the record, a record of songs that generally are somewhat short and not that built out. And as far as a song goes, there's not really a strong song at the core of this thing. And that's the thing, while I like the sound and a lot of the instrumental palettes of House of Sugar a lot, probably even more than Rocket, the singing and the songwriting hasn't gotten that much better. There are some pretty robust and well-assembled tunes in the first leg of this thing, but after that, consistency and structure kind of goes out the window. Alex starts bringing these tracks that more or less feel like motifs or vague instrumental ideas as opposed to a complete song. It's one short transitional moment after another, and yet none of them are really transitioning into anything or reinforcing each other either. The song Taking sounds like a pretty good instrumental bridge to a fuller song, but it's not much else. It's like we're just not allowed to hear the rest of the track. I mean, the bright lead melodies shimmer beautifully, and I love the taking hypnotic refrains toward the back end of the track too, but again, I wish it ended or started somewhere else different. The song Near is downright the most annoying song on the entire record, with its murky and gargling rhythms and bass, the very busy, repetitive, and somewhat jittery vocal parts and harmonies, as well as the guitar passages that seem like they don't really care about where they fit into the track. It's like they're just kind of making a mess in the midst of an instrumental that already has too much going on. Project 2 essentially sounds like Alex trying his hand at some vaporwave synths, at the very least a Far Side Virtual ripoff, and it's not very compelling. Then we have another stylistic change right after this with the song Bad Man, which is pretty country influenced. Sounds like what you would get if you fused a country song with some very busy, rhythmic, angular indietronica. It's tough to put my finger on because it's easily one of the most varied, strange, and seamless genre fusions on the entire project. The instrumental breakdown in the middle is pretty cool, and even though this thing is one of the shortest songs on the entire record, it feels longer than 1 minute and 50 seconds, maybe because the tune coming out of the vocals is so catchy and you have these various, very well-defined parts that make you feel like you're progressing through something that's pretty well put together. Also loving how morbid and serene the lyrics are toward the end, about a bomb dropping and laying in the grass of the tangerine sky. The track Sugar, though, is another head-scratcher in the track list. The vocals are fed through this really weird robotic filter to the point where you can't really tell what they're saying. They're squeaky, a little warbly. Honest to God, it sounds like an Animal Crossing character. It sounds like a frickin' Animal Crossing character, but at a lower pitch and sung in a way, in a repetitious way, where it's almost like they're performing a chant. I really have no idea. It's one of the more difficult to interpret and digest ideas on the entire record. However, the instrumentation happening underneath this is actually some of the grandest on the entire project. Very regal, gorgeous, thick. The string sections on this song are fantastic. Yes, we're essentially listening to this Baroque-ish art rock-y type of instrumental that's pretty powerful, immense. It is a stunningly beautiful, out-of-this-world oasis kicking off the last third of this record, and it links to literally nothing else on the album, sounds like nothing else on the album. Alone, it's great, but it doesn't really do anything for the flow of the record. This track list, much like that on Alex G's other projects, is like a crapshoot of semi-finished songs and offshoot ideas. The final moments of this thing are spent delivering one very low-key, so-so, bland song after another, though there are some ideas within each that do stand out, like the slow, drony, enveloping guitars on In My Arms. I love the fuzzy, syrupy, rough aesthetic of this track, but again, the songwriting, the vocals do literally nothing for me. The song Cow, with its twangy lead guitars, sees some of those country vibes coming back over a tune that is semi-sweet. The vocal harmonies and chord progressions on the track Crime remind me of what you may get if you took Of Montreal and had them write some country tunes, which I guess they've had some tracks in the past that feel a little influenced by that here and there. Though I think Alex's approach is significantly sadder and a bit more despondent. Also, the vocals have way less personality than anything Kevin Barnes has sung over the course of his career. The closing track, oddly enough, is marked as a live cut and is pretty pleasant, pretty sweet, features some groovy bass and sassy keys and saxophone. Seems like something maybe some Jimmy Buffett fans could get down to. Overall, though, I can really take or leave this record. I am very indifferent toward it, though I am impressed that despite the lack of a macro vision for this project, Alex still does manage to come up with some great ideas on a micro level. Passionate fans who love Alex's music the way that it is, the way that it's been on projects like Rocket, you're probably going to love this, and I guess that's exactly why I continue to not be so won over. I'll just have to sit this one out, I guess, you know. Feeling a decent 5 on this one. Transition, have you given this album a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head is another video for you to check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Alex G, forever.